Okay, let's see if we can do this. It's gonna fall over. Hey guys, welcome to my May book haul. Yeah, it's a big one, but it was birthday month and I spent all my birthday money buying books, as one does. I have done this a little differently than normal, and I've separated my books into genre. So I have one book that doesn't fit any of them. I'll probably start with that one just to get it over with. I have a poetry stack. I have a large poetry stack. That is where most of my money went this year, birthday money. I've got some classics, we've got some non-fiction, and then we've got some historical fiction. So I will have those sections down below. I hope if you guys are not poetry people, you will still stick around for the poetry section because it's a very important section to me this year. Many of these books are from Little Free Libraries. I did a tour a while ago. Thrift store, used bookstores. I bought some books from Amazon. I got one book as a birthday gift. And I think that's all. A lot of the Little Free Library books were for my kids, and so they've kind of ended up throughout the house already, except this one. This is Beyond the Spiderwick. This is book 2 in this series, which is after the Spiderwick Chronicles, Beyond the Spiderwick Chronicles. This one's a giant problem. The Spiderwick Chronicles just do not get enough attention. They have, if you or your kids enjoy fantasy, it's a fun little series. We read it many years ago. This one has so many illustrations. And it's a fun little series. I've never read the Beyond the Spiderwick Chronicles. I think there's one book now that Reka has left in the series to collect, so I should maybe read it at some point. That was my one random book that didn't fit any of these other piles. So my poetry stack, you guys, is big. I got your recommendations. I purchased a bunch of like independently published poetry collections, tried to stick mostly with Christian poets, and yeah, I'm so excited about this stack. There's one more poetry book I want to purchase yet, but at this point I can't seem to get it in Canada, even though I can get the author's other works here. So I messaged her. I'm like, I want to buy this book. How can I do so? Let's start with actually one of them that I got off of Book Outlet. I got Endless Grace. These are prayers inspired by the Psalms by Ryan Whitaker Smith and Dan Wilt. This is usually sold in a 2-book series because book 1 goes from Psalm 1 to Psalm 75, and this is 76 to 150. But this one was on Book Outlet, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And it says they're prayers, which they kind of are, but they're also like, they're poems. They're written out like poems. So I have started it. I've read the first 2. And I'm just going to be like with all these poetry books, I'm going to be reading them over a period of time. But Ryan Whitaker Smith, I realized from the little bio on the back, is Michael W. Smith's son. I guess the W in Michael W. Smith would actually stand for something, but it never really dawned on me before. So they take each psalm and they have a prayer, and there's often illustrations throughout too. I really like this very plain, basic illustration style. I don't understand exactly how, I mean, I've read 2 of them so far. I don't exactly understand how they fit with the psalm, but they're great anyway. And they do reference a lot of scripture, and then they write the scripture down in the footnote. So I would definitely recommend this. And like I said, it's usually sold, both of them together. So now I have to try to figure out how to get my hands on just book 1 and not have it be just as expensive as both of them. But I'm excited about that. And then I'll show you the other one. This one is kind of random. I got this in my birthday vlog, Poems of Poems of Christina Rossetti, and I've been looking for a collection of her poetry for a very long time. So while it's not my favorite edition, I'm excited to have one, and it's got some illustrations. Also not my favorite illustrations, but if you've been looking for a book for a few years, you grab what you can find. and that is what I have done. So there is I think there's a book with her complete poems that's like a few hundred pages long. This one is only just over 100, but it's a good start. I've liked her poetry that I've read in like other collections, so I feel like I'm going to enjoy this. The poetry that I've purchased is interesting. These are independently published poetry books, and there's 3 different sizes. We've got like the biggest one, we've got the medium one, and we've got the smaller ones. I plan to publish a poetry book myself within the next 11 months. I'm not sure when it's going to be, but I'm already analyzing, okay, like what size do I like to read better? So we'll start out with whatever's on the stack here. So I have 2 poetry books by Rachel H, which is very hard to try to find on Amazon. Her last name I think is Huxell. I don't know if you can find it when you search for that. This one's called Making Whole. And then I have Fleeting Things. So this one says, the little girl sits at the foot of her father, telling him all that she can't control. Just a fragment of a broken story. He is busy making whole. So she writes Christian poetry from the little bit that I've read, and I'm excited to like actually dive into it. And then this one is also by her. It's Fleeting Things. I am tired of falling in love with wings, fragments, fleeting things. My neighbor's dog is barking. So this one was published in 2020, and Making Whole was 2022. And then she has another one, The Garden That You're Growing, I think. That's the one that these came from Amazon, printed through Amazon. That one I couldn't get. So hopefully soon. And I think I'll just probably read them in order. Start with like the author's possibly less polished works kind of thing. And then, oh yeah, and she is from Australia. I kind of didn't realize as I was purchasing books, I've bought books from poets from all over. It's kind of cool. So Australian. Then I got Praying Outside by Brittany Litster. Slowly learning how to say her name. I have her previous poetry collection and really enjoyed it. And this one is Prayers Outside. Commune with the Creator in the very place that breathes of His glory and grace. Outside, you will find nature's already praising Him. We're just joining in. So it's set up a little bit different than her other one. Her poems were centered. I'm excited to dive in. I've already read like 2 poems or whatever. Not very many, not enough to say anything. These 3 are all the same size. They're like the narrowest of the ones I got. Then I mentioned this one in my birthday vlog, maybe. This is The Wilderness That Bears Your Name by James A. Pearson. Oh yeah, and so Brittany is from South Africa, and then James is from the US. And I don't know if he is a believer, but his poetry, I've read a few. I've really enjoyed them. I came across him from Randy Lynn Reed's channel because she read one of his poems, and he shares a bunch of them on Instagram, as do most of these people. So his are very nature-y, and it's a slightly bigger book, which I think I might be preferring this size, but I haven't actually taken time to read. Then one of a fellow booktuber here, Molly McTurnan. I don't know if I'm saying your last name right, Molly. She has Poetic Surrender. I didn't realize that she had published a book. So this is different Christian poems, some nature poems. I haven't dove into it yet. Looking forward to it. Hers is the same size as James's. I think she is also American. So we've got some American, we've got some Australian, we've got South African. Now here's my Canadian. We've got The Joy Trickles In by Yuli K, Navigating with Hope. Now let's just talk sizes here. This is the biggest of them. It is slightly taller, slightly longer than the others. and she is a Christian from Canada. I think she's a believer. Yes. And I just randomly came across her poetry, I think from Instagram. I was like looking at one poet and it led me to her. And so I purchased this one. She has another one. That one said something about grief. So I decided to go for hope instead of grief. And if you follow her on Instagram, I think she shares a lot of them as well. And she often has, like, they're in color on Instagram. She's got like dried flowers and stuff on the bottom. Here they're just black and white. I really like the font that she uses, just like the typewriter font. That might be what I go for. Yeah, so that is my poetry purchasing. Still at least one more that I want to buy once I can. Adding to my poetry collection. I'm excited about that. Let's do classics next. So in my birthday vlog, I shared The Vicar of Wakefield by Oliver Goldsmith. I don't know anything about this except that I know that I had heard about it. The title sounded familiar, so I grabbed it. I'm so obsessed with this vintage cover. This is the Pocket Library. I would love to like have other editions or other books in this edition. That's what I'm trying to say. So I don't really know anything, but I'm gonna read it. And then we've got Willa Cather O Pioneers. I've heard really good things about this one, and it has surprisingly large font for a Penguin Classics book. So that makes me want to get to it sooner rather than later because it's a quicker read than it looks. This is her first novel about life on the Nebraska prairies. I have one other book of hers that I would like to read first, but this is going to be pretty soon. And then I got a Dickens. I've got Dombey and Son, a beast that is just shy of 1,000 pages. I have been thinking about who is going to be my literary mentor for next year. In the fall, I'll share my DIY literature degree year 3 plan. Contemplating Dickens, but I'm a little intimidated. I like my reading one of his books every January, but it's gonna take me a while to get through his books. So I'm contemplating having him be my mentor for next year and then reading a few of his books, but I'm undecided. Then I got selected poems by John Keats in this Macmillan Collector's Edition, I think is what it's called. I have quite a few books in this edition, and I feel like I've read some John Keats poetry in bind-ups. I haven't actually looked at this. Most of his poems are pretty long, which generally is not my thing. There are some exceptions, but I know that he's famous, popular, so I want to read some of his poems in this cute little book. I got The Life of Charlotte Bronte by Elizabeth Gaskell. I've been looking for this book for so long, and I found it on Thrift Books, and I was like, okay, I'll just pay for it. Yeah, I enjoy Elizabeth Gaskell. I enjoy Charlotte Bronte, so it's a great matchup. They knew each other in real life, and so I think it will just be very fascinating. The Brontes were like another option. Maybe I do the Brontes, but I've read most of the books by the Brontes, so it would be just rereads, which isn't a problem, or mainly rereads, but, or Elizabeth Gaskell, another option. I don't know, I've got a few options. Then I needed to buy a Penguin's Little Black Classic because I wanted Lady Susan in its own book, and I am kind of obsessed with these. I very strongly contemplated, and I'm still kind of in the process of contemplating. There is a 80 book collection. I think it's 80 of them for $130 Canadian, which is a lot of money, but it's less than $2 per book. And I'm waffling if I'm going to purchase it or not. It has a lot of shorter works by famous authors. It'd be a great way to try some different authors and stuff. And I will definitely reread this maybe in July, because I annotated my other one, but it would be fun to do it in here as well. This one is number 81. I'm curious if the bind up that I was, or not the bind up, the collection I was looking at, is it numbers 1 through 80? I know this one wasn't in there, so that's why I just purchased this one separately. A little birthday gift for myself. Actually, it was from my family. They gave me Amazon money, so Yeah, love these little books. Love Lady Susan. Then my friend got me The Doctor's Sweetheart and Other Short Stories by Maud Montgomery in this like cool, it's almost like a faux linen kind of cover. It's not like a new one though. This was published in 1979, and I do own this in the like mass market paperback in the kind of like slightly tacky cover. This one's much prettier, so I'm excited about that. Okay, where am I at? Let's just do historical fiction because there's not very many here. These two I found, actually 4 of them I found in Little Free Library, so we'll breeze through them because I did talk about them in my Little Free Library video. I got 2 of these Titanic books by Gordon Corman. I got book 2 and book 3, and we might use these in our homeschool this year, so I just need to get my hands on book 1, maybe from the library or something. We follow 4 kids. The first book 1's called Unsinkable. This one's called Collision Course, and there's a murder on the ship. And then this is when the Titanic actually goes down, SOS. So grabbed those. Then I also grabbed Trapped in Ice by Eric Walters. This has to do with the Canadian Arctic expedition of 1913, and which sounded interesting, so I grabbed that. And then Dear Canada, To Stand on My Own, The Polio Epidemic Diary of Noreen Robertson. This is set in Saskatoon in 1937, and Reka has read it, and she says this is one of the absolute best Dear Canada books, so I'm excited to own it. We have been very slowly collecting these over the years and have almost all of them. And then I got All Quiet on the Western Front. This is one of the books I would like to read this year for my DIY summer school. This is a fictional story about World War I, and yeah, sounds interesting. Might be one that I assign for homeschool for next year, but I would like to read it. I don't really know anything. Testament of Paul, who enlists with his classmates in the German army during World War I. They become soldiers with youthful passion. This was published in 1920 something, I think, right? 1928, yeah, originally in German. Okay, and now my last stack here is nonfiction. The first 2 are just, the first one's a memoir. We've got The Glass Castle. This one I also found in a Little Free Library, and you guys had really good things to say. Sounds like it's a very hard memoir of her growing up very poor and with parents that like, the kids pretty much raised the parents, it sounds like. But it sounds like you like it. I always get this one mixed up with I Captured the Castle, which I also want to read. But now at least I own one of them, so I can hopefully remember which one's which. And then I got Columbine by Dave Cullen, which you guys also said very good, very hard. This is like a very detailed account of Columbine, and he interviews hundreds of interviews, thousands of pages of police files, like the boys' tapes and diaries, and it's going to be intense, but I think it'll be a good read. Now I think the rest of these are Christian nonfiction. Quite the variety here. Again, we've got Do Hard Things by Alex and Brett Harris. We got this one for our kids to read. I want to read it though too. It's a teenage rebellion against low expectations. So my oldest has already read it. My second born, which is kind of funny to say when you adopted a kid, the second child will read it next, maybe this next year for school. And then we've got The Young Men We Need. So we own The Men We Need. And this one is the younger version. This is by Brant Hansen. God's Purpose for Every Guy and How You Can Live It Out. This is one that I want my 12-year-old to read this year in school. I said he can read it earlier, but if he doesn't, I'm just gonna assign it. So I will also read it so we can kind of talk about it as he goes. I don't know how much this differs from The Men We Need, which I have also read, but it's funny, honest, and packed with wisdom. It would be because it's by Brant Hansen. It gives you a clear vision on what it means to be a man by showing you why it's crucial that you forsake the fake and relish the real, protect the vulnerable, Be ambitious about the right things. Make women and children feel safe, not threatened. Choose today who you will become tomorrow, and take responsibility for your own spiritual life. The world is waiting for you to show up and step into God's purpose for you as a man. This book shows you how to get there. So I'm excited about it. My oldest has read The Men We Need and The Young Men We Need, and she said it's helped her, like, okay, what kind of guy is she looking for? Which I just love. Then I did share The Pastor's Wife in a video. I got some thrift books mail, and this was it. This is Sabina Wurmbrand's story, 1948, communist Romania. Her and her husband were imprisoned, and I kind of forgot that I did actually order her husband's story as well, Tortured for Christ. I believe these are both movies. I believe they're both good. I believe they're both pretty brutal, especially this one, because they were, at least he was tortured, and I want to read both. I think I'm going to start with hers. I haven't heard that I shouldn't, so I want to start with hers this summer, and then I will read this one. I shared them both in my DIY summer plan as well. I have a lot of books I want to read this summer. Then I got this. It's Jesus Calm My Heart by Ruth Schwenk. I don't actually know how to say her last name, I just realized. This is 365 prayers to give you, I can't see, there's a sticker on top of it. To give you peace at the close of every day. So I don't generally like daily devotional type books, but this one has prayers, which sounds really cool. So I'm going to have this on my nightstand there and read one of these each day. It looks like it's set up so you've got the day, it's got a prayer, and then a little prompt, a start of a prayer, and then you can fill it in. I am not a filler-inner kind of person. Maybe I will in my head, but I probably won't be writing in here. I often don't for these kinds of books. Next up, I found an R.C. Sproul on Book Outlet. What is Reformed Theology? Understanding the Basics. And yeah, I honestly was just like, it's R.C. Sproul. I'll purchase it. I didn't really even look into it. Foundations of Reformed Theology, 5 points of Reformed Theology. And that's what it is. I'm sure it'll be good. Then I got another A.W. Tozer. I don't have this one yet. Well, I mean, I do now. I didn't have it. The Fire of God's Presence, Drawing Near to a Holy God. So this is compiled and edited by James Snyder. So I don't know where this came from. Like, what part of A.W. Tozer's works was it compiled from? Doesn't really say on here, but I have enjoyed the Tozer that I have read, which I think is just one, but hopefully soon, eventually it'll be more. I have a bind up of his. I've got 3 books in one, and I know I've read the first one, and I want to read the others at some point. I've got How Should We Then Live, which is a title that always confuses me. I got this from a little free library. It's by Francis Schaeffer, and I honestly don't know. I got rid of the dust jacket because it was just falling apart. This is The Rise and Decline of Western Thought and Culture. I'm not really sure. I was like, it's in a little free library, it's Francis Schaeffer, I'll grab it. I can't really tell you anything because I don't know anything. And then the last book is What It Means to Be Protestant by Gavin Ortland. I'm very interested in reading this one. My 14-year-old is currently reading it, which honestly sometimes just blows my mind. This is not the kind of books I was reading at 14. Very impressed by her for the books that she reads and like her understanding, and she watches Gavin Ortland's YouTube channel, The Case for an Always Reforming Church. He draws from his scholarly work in church history and his personal experience to offer a powerful defense of the Protestant tradition. Yeah, I'm very curious. We have been doing a weekly Bible study, and there are mainly one, but sometimes a couple Catholics that come on a regular basis. And so that has made me more interested in like learning about Catholicism and like what they actually believe, and then like the differences and what it means to be Protestant. So I'm looking forward to reading it, once she's done. And I think that's all for this book haul. I have one more book that I ordered for my birthday that has not come in, but I'm not going to tell you what it is until the next book haul. It's supposed to come in at the end of this week, so that will wait for June's book haul. Definitely a bigger pile than I've done in a while. I've scaled back on purchasing physical books this year, but birthday month is going to be an exception. That's for sure. Yeah, let me know if you've read any of these, loved any of these, are excited for me to read any of these in particular. Thanks for hanging out with me again, you guys.